この俺が人間なんだ。
Alright, so in this one, we are going to be going over the most overrated Sparkings in Legends. We've been doing the worst aging, best aging, underrated. Now it's the overrated. I feel like this is going to be the more controversial one. I think, you know, the worst aging is also very controversial, and kind of some of those units are going to tie into this one because, well, they kind of coincide. If you're not aging the most graceful, you might have been a little bit gassed on release, right? That idea mixes well, and I believe you've probably seen it in the thumbnail already. Some units, again, are repeating, and it's not just because, well, it's not true, it's because it is true. You guys know who's overrated, and if you guys don't know, well, I'm gonna shed some light here, and just dive into this. The first one being you. Now, I am a... what's the word? A sayer of this guy being, you know, god, broken, and busted beyond belief on his release. Cell, while he was very good on release, I don't disagree with that. I think he was very overrated. People were looking for a big way to stop hybrids. Now, we did have Evolution Blue, who did help, but he wasn't the full, like, okay, you're done. Like, hybrids are done. People thought, and again, I am one of them, who thought, Cell. This man dropped Z tier. He was rated Z tier everywhere, not just, you know, one place or another. Everywhere. Everyone thought this guy would be the ruler, the ender. Little do we know, a month later, Goku, Vegeta, Sword Hope, Trunks come, and, well, yeah, they were the real enders of it, but everyone thought Cell, because you look at him here, he has this little bit of anti-hybrid here. Actually, not even a little bit, 50% to anti-hybrid, which actually is a lot. So that has 130% damage inflicted just off the rip. He has this great anti-revival mechanic, which again, I'm not saying that he's bad per se, at least when he came out. Maybe now I could say he's fallen off quite a bit. But he was not the cream of the crop. Again, he was rated Z tier. Well, if you think about it, I don't even think Evolution Blue was rated Z tier. So people were saying, and again, I was part of this, given it was for a short time, about a week or two, people were saying he was, you know, D tier, better than Evolution Blue, better than all his units. In reality, he was probably like mid-S, honestly high S to when he came out. He did help counter out the meta of hybrids, I agree with that, but you have Future Gohan, you have FSK, and you have Raul Gohan. I believe FSK does more to regen, so that was a big negative. You did have Future Gohan, who obviously has type advantage to this Cell, so another negative. And then you had Raul Gohan, who could still, even post-revival, one combo the Cell. With or without Gauge, he would one combo the Cell. So it was like, yes, he was very good for what he was, for what we needed, but he was not the god amongst men that people proclaimed him to be, right? A similar one to this is 8 Vegeta. Now, again, I am someone who gassed 8 Vegeta, and I do think, at least when he came out, that he was warranted for the gas of, you know, the best Red Saiyan or something similar to that, right? He just held that title because he had a good spot in Frieza Force if he wanted to do his damage, and then if you want to run him on a more tanky setup, you had the Saiyan setup, where I personally didn't like him there, but I would say it's still a good setup for him, because you have that healing with Halo Vegeta, Super Saiyan 3 Goku for your real damage, because every match went late game, and then he was always built up, and then this Vegeta who had that endurance, given it's only 20%, not like Future Gohan where it's 40%, but he did have the endurance to give you some sustainability, again with the healing of Halo Vegeta. But it falls in the department of he fell off quickly, because, I mean, the blues in this game are just ridiculous. And then on the back of he takes a little bit long, 30 counts, because that is what you need, unless you're getting his, I believe, blue card off, which is lowering his sub count by 5. 30 counts to get his peak damage inflicted, because it's 3 switches, so you have to lead with him. So minimum 20, maximum 30 counts if you're not leading with him. And there's a lot of spots you actually lead with Super Saiyan 3 Goku, because then you can get that build-up of ultimate damage quicker if you just start a combo, right? So you have spots there. He can heal passively, 5%, but overall, calling him one of the best, you know, Reds, I don't think was that hot of a take, but to say that he was, like, there without red stars, it just isn't true. Like, this is a unit that requires red stars. Similar to Kruttenwurd's Masu, to look like he's like a god amongst men, he needs red stars, right? This 8 Vegeta is unfortunately in the same circumstances where he can look great at red, but on release, right now, similar to Cell, they have been falling off very cataclysmically, and comparably to, let's say, future Gohan or Kid Buu, they have a lot more usage even now compared to those two. And, you know, you could say 8 Vegeta because he's red, sure, that's why he doesn't have much usage now, but you look at Cell, man's is purple. I mean, purple is the best color in the game, and he can't even be that used right now. To a full extent, at least. You can't get his peak as often as you can get other units' peaks, right? That's the main downfall of him. Like, future Gohan's peak is easier to get than Cell's peak, basically. To keep going, though, again, most of these should be on the thumbnail, but if they're not, I'm very surprised. Klapku, I was never a big fan of him. Again, I went over him in the, I believe he was overrated, right? Yeah. Wait, no. Worst aging. Jeez. This is the overrated. The worst aging. I don't feel like he aged phenomenal. I think he aged okay to an extent. Was he in the... Hold on, actually, I'm gonna check real quick. I know the brightness just went down, but what video was he in? Hold on, because I don't want to counter myself. Yeah, worst aging. Okay, I was right. Wow, 3 units already here on this. Holy shit, that's crazy. But this Goku, I always valued Super Saiyan Blue Goku more, the Zenkai Super Saiyan Blue Goku, and I do think he actually aged pretty nicely. He had a steep decline with all these new units, but up to then, he actually aged pretty nice. This Klapku, he offered nothing to me. That Blue Goku would tank better early game than Klapku would until he revived, and then, well, Klapku had to revive to tank as good as Zenkai 7 Blue Goku, but then by that time of his revival, you would have Zenkai 7 Blue Goku doing 1 combos on most units and 1v3ing in a lot of circumstances, at least on the release of Klapku, right? Like, that Blue Goku was a menace, and he'd heal on green card. You could just do the same Vados technique of using, you know, him in Vados and have that passive healing on top of healing on green card, where this guy is healing, I believe, passively with, like, the type of thing regen units get, where it's, like, 3,000 or 4,000 HP per time account for, like, 60 time accounts. He get that, but, you know, healing on a green card where it's 10 to 15%, I mean, that's a lot more valuable just as an overall sense very quickly, because you want quick healing, you don't want slow passive healing. It just doesn't have as much of an impact. This guy, I never really saw his true impact in the game. I thought he was always just somebody that was tedious, and I guess that was his whole plan, but Blue Goku was also tedious, and he could also 1v3 you, Zenkai 7. So it's like, which one was the better unit? I never valued Klapku, personally, so I'm happy to say that he was very overrated, and someone I also didn't use. Another one here, very close to him, LF Broly. Again, these are going to coincide very much, the worst aging and the overrated units. People thought he was... I think people actually thought he was the best Super Saiyan, that he enabled Mono Blue to be a real thing. That is because of 2 reasons. One, showcases kind of put him on a pedestal where, okay, he could be, what, triple Zenkai buff by that point, if not double. And pedestal, again, because realistically, you still had greens, you had Transforming Rose, you had all these strong units that could easily 1-combo him. Yes, he's blue, but again, he's on this pedestal of double Zenkai buffs. You'd hope he could take some hits. Broly was shown off very nicely, while Gogeta Blue was shown off very poorly on their initial releases. Broly, thankfully, got, you know, his comeuppance, where people started seeing him not be that great of a unit, but he had a lot of gas for someone that is very reliant on other things to happen for him to look like an actual unit, not a good unit, an actual unit. To be a good unit, he needs the Zenkai buffs, he needs Super Saiyan, he needs so much more than any unit that, like, is an LF. It's kind of insane how much he actually needs to get around him to make him look as good as he can look. It's not good. Another Cell makes the list, though. Look, I'm not gonna, you know, be nice to Cell here, because his stats, again, one of the worst aging. He was... Let me explain why he was overrated. He was thought to be on this great core setup. Now, I don't disagree with this core setup being very nice, of what, Purple Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta transforming Rose and Rival Cell. I don't think that was a bad core in the early release of him, right? But as time went on, as we got any unit that, I mean, could take down just transforming Rose, that team just faltered. We got a purple unit. Who was a near purple unit that came out? Purple Hit, I assume, came out kind of around this time of this cell. You kill Rose in that one blue card because it does 100% more damage. This team falters. Cell was good because he had a strong powerhouse with him, on top of himself being at least the only revival, no anti-revivals existing. And that kind of just gave him that niche spot of very good, to a degree, overrating him because, well, he was only good for a circumstance that didn't have a counter to it. It's kind of like, it's really not like this, but the best comparison I could say is Ultra Gogeta is very good for the circumstance he's allowed in right now. Once Lock and Gauge exists, you know, a lot of units that have Gauge that are relying on it, Sword Ho Trunks, for example, are going to falter and just go down in value, right? That's not inherently overrating them, but with Cell, it's just that he didn't really offer anything but the same thing as Rose, and the thing he offered is less than what Transforming Rose offered. It's just that he has the revival mechanic that gave you an extra life. I don't know if you should fully call that overrating or just good timing, but I feel like it's a mix of both, where Rival Cell had nice limelight, I feel that, but it was something that was very... Any unit could have done what Rival Cell did. It's just that he fit the best for the mold of where we were. But I still feel like that makes him overrated because, again, any unit could have done what Rival Cell did. And with that, I don't see his value being as exponential as people like to say, at least. That's just me. That's just me. I had to just check something real quick. Another one, though, and this one, people will disagree with this, and you know what? I accept it because I don't even fully agree with it, but I agree with it to an extent. Bardock. Now, I agree. Bardock, when he came out, holy shit, this man could go neutral. This man could do everything. He was God incarnate when he was in that spot. Okay, so you're telling me I had to get in a spot where... How long does it take transform? How long? Because main ability sealed, right? Gets health back, all that. 50 timer counts. 50. Now, if I were someone playing back then when Bardock dropped, which is with Fiku, with Super Saiyan 4 Goku, and Bardock being a meta team, I would think, okay, well, hopefully I just get a circumstance where I can kill off this Bardock quickly, and then I don't have to worry about this last man standing God man trying to kill me, right? Exactly why he's overrated. Bardock, again, while he was a savage beyond belief for his time, he also was super easily countered if he just did any half-brain play. You do strike arts into maybe a blast arts that dropped combo, tap attack them, they didn't swap out, they stayed in because whatever the spot they want to pop a green card, get some HP back, whatever, and then you blue carded, well, you kill Bardock, and when Bardock is dead, he's nothing. He is nothing. You know, obviously you're thinking about him in post. You can't just think about unit in their peak situation because you're not always in your peak situation, right? I'm not always with my, you know, Ultra Gogeta where he's always Super Saiyan buff. No, I'm not always with my, who's someone that's not always peaked out on entry? I'm not always with my Super Vegeta where they did 6 cards against me and now I'm getting support for everyone around me. No, they're sometimes doing 2 cards, 3 cards. I'm not always in my peak spot. So you can't just compare only peaks. Bardock, not peaked, is a pretty mediocre unit. Sure, he would do okay strike damage, and it really wasn't anything too terrible. But how easily he could have died before getting peaked was something that people ran into a lot, and I do feel like actually overrated him. Again, I'm not saying he was a bad unit, but to the extent he was dignified to like, this is that guy, he's going to 1v3. Yes, he had the circumstance to, but did he always manage that? I don't know. I don't believe so, personally. Again, this is the one people are going to disagree with the most. This guy here. Now, Nameku is an enigma. Now, I've always said this, that There's some times where I feel like he can be a top tier unit if you play correctly, but I do feel like on his release of Zenkai, not his actual release, because his actual release, it made sense because Sun Family was a very good team with FSK, Goten, and himself, because, well, that's what Legends dropped, all these LS back to back to back, basically. On his Zenkai release. Now, he did change the state of the game with his blue card, you know, being a counter and all that. But, is it a little overrated? Look, this blue card, just to look at it, does it do anything too outlandish? Just look at it. 20% special damage inflicted upon activation, okay. It counters, plus 50% to special damage inflicted for 3 time counts once the counter is activated, okay. So that's 70%. So if maybe you stack 2 of them, yes, it's a little bit outlandish. But in a normal spot, where let's say you succeed in one counter and then your opponent starts changing their playstyle because, hey, you countered them, this is null. This maybe will take effect, maybe, if you get a good scenario for yourself and your last man standing kind of have to force it, right? Maybe that'll take effect. But is the blue card as broken? Again, these are circumstances where it's maybe player dependent, it's maybe star dependent, it's all kind of dependencies, but I do feel like it was a little bit gassed. Did I think we needed a whole balance change to nerf the character? I'm on the fence. I never felt like he was so overwhelming where I couldn't play the game against him. There is always a unit that can counter out the unit just of choice. You know, maybe it's the unit itself. Okay, well, this unit was not that scenario. If I were to use, let's say, Green Buhan, who, just an example, has a barrier, right? Any type of barrier type unit. I'm thinking of Green Buhan because this guy came out, at least his initial release was, what, August or something like that? And, you know, Green Buhan was anniversary, so they were kind of in conjunction, right? They were very close to each other, so you kind of had to counter out. Okay, if I'm thinking his Zenkai release, you had units that can go type neutral, that can do as much damage as he does Last Man Standing without Last Man Standing. You get it? There's spots around him where he was never fully, like, that guy. I think he was very close to that guy on his initial release, but then people kind of learned about how he played, and then how you could counter him out. Then people also learned how good he could be, but there were not enough good players to supplement how bad people play with him as well. Again, he's very much an enigma to me. I think he can be seen as overrated, but I also see a scenario where you think he's just God amongst men, and he does everything beyond belief. He's in a very weird spot where he was very good. He is still pretty good, but I also think he's a little bit gassed for how good he truly is. Again, people are going to disagree. The one right below him is actually an excellent. UI Goku. UI Goku, if you don't remember, on his release, he was so beyond gassed. Look, I remember a lot of times when he dropped, I think I had like 6, 7 stars, whatever, very quickly, right? Which was very nice. I remember green Jirens that were like 9-star, 8-star, all that. They would one-combo my UI Goku because Green Jiren, I believe, had a nullified special cover change. He still does, obviously. And then you ran into a spot where, oh, well, this green's one-comboing my purple. What do I do? Also, this blue topo can lock in and kill my UI Goku basically one card if I even tap attacked him. UI Goku, was very overrated. I guess it's because the gauge, the, you know, double swaps on Striker Blast Darts. He had a lot of cool things going for him, but in reality, his, I don't even believe, does he have cut? If he has cut, it's very low. His low cut, right? He has low cut? Yeah, low cut, didn't give him enough value. You look at him here at these stars. Again, I would have Green Jiren to one comboing my UI Goku, and I was like, why is Green Jiren not being seen as godly as UI Goku when Green Jiren's one comboing this god, right? UI Goku was very, very... Dude, I chuckle at the idea how gassed UI Goku was. Dude, UI Goku... Oh man, that was peak, huh? UI fucking Goku. Hopefully MUI is a lot better than UI Goku was, because holy shit. But some honorable mentions I could touch on here. I would say this Gohan. Now, it's not necessarily him. It's kind of weird for him. It's that he came out. If you guys don't remember, when he came out, hybrids were already thriving, and people were thinking, okay, it's going to be Saiyan Saga because we got Grade 8 Vegeta, so we're going to get something coinciding with that. Now, we don't know what the fuck's going on with drops and releases and all that, but back then, that's what we were thinking, because it usually coincided, the LF to the 1% sparking for each month, right? So people were thinking, okay, it might be a Piccolo with a something, or it could be a Gohan and Krillin, or it could be a Tien, or it could be somebody, right? Then it became this guy, Gohan and Piccolo. People didn't like it because, well, Gohan has enough fucking cards, hybrids were already broken, and people just overgassed, and trust me, everyone, again, myself included, overgassed the idea of another hybrid coming. Personally, it pissed me the fuck off, and he was very overrated. He's pretty fucking ass, honestly, if we look at him here, even at 9 stars, which is pretty high for him, considering he's only been on 1 banner, right? His stats, pretty fucking ass. He is pretty fucking ass. He's probably the most overrated unit, without even seeing the unit itself, like, kit-wise, because he was a hybrid. People were so sick of hybrids being so good, and respectfully, I agree with that, because hybrids were good since, you know, pre-30th anniversary, honestly, but since 30th anniversary, they really peaked out. Another Gohan dropped, people were angry. Very overrated, he was pretty fucking shit, so that was kind of funny to see him be so hated, just even though he's so ass, right? Because he honestly, he didn't even deserve the hate. And another unit here, again, last honorable mention I'm going to have, IT Goku. It's kind of the circumstance that I have of Namegoku. Now, while IT Goku is very strong, Namegoku is very strong, it's still a spot where you're in the counter situation, and, well, this guy's counter is arguably better or worse. I would say it's worse because you're losing your Vanish because of it, but some might say it's better. IT Goku, I didn't even play when he came out, but I can just tell if you learned how to counterplay it, which again probably wasn't very hard because, well, you just adjust to the game. That's literally just game knowledge, how units are good or bad, right? So if a unit's kit is innately already good, you can't make them be worse, right? But if a unit's reliant on me doing something, me making a mistake, the opponent making a mistake, that unit innately might be like very strong just on the release, but once you learn, that unit's value just drops. Over time, Namegoku's value sustained more because of his ability and the things he offered, but it's really because a blue Saiyan that was like on his level, which really wasn't that high, didn't come out. Like, yeah, GT Super Saiyan 3 Kid Goku come out. Okay, well, it didn't offer enough for the team, and it was more a blast-based team, so he didn't fit. You had Revival Goku come out. Okay, well, you could run God Key and be more tanky setup. Revival Goku doesn't really fit on this Saiyan mold because you already have a tanky setup Super Saiyan 3 Goku, right? There was no mold that really fit for Super Saiyan or Namegoku to be replaced in that team because the team just didn't need it. This here is a similar circumstance where, okay, IT Goku, Bardock existed, or Bardock was going to exist, I'm not sure the dates of them, but Bardock was going to exist, Sun Family existed, whatever his team was actually when he released, you just learned how to play around him, and you saw the value of how easy you could kill him. It's, again, the same thing as Namegoku. I don't think there was any uncounterable unit in the game, because even if you can't counter a unit by using a different unit, use the unit itself. Like, how do you counter Ultra Gogeta right now? You use the unit itself, right? How do you counter Namegoku? You use a barrier type. You use someone that's a very baity type of unit that actually gets better by, let's say, staying in longer. They get better by, you know, sidestepping. They get more damage inflicted. They can one-shot nuke. They have, you know, this back on their main ability. They get these things back at certain circumstances. That's kind of how you counter out these counter units, and I feel like IT Goku is in the same boat as Namegoku, where yes, they could have been scary on release, but their like actual core value wasn't like that phenomenal. It's just that Namegoku got a lucky spot where he wasn't replaceable, or he was replaceable, it's just that you didn't need to replace him yet. And IT Goku, I believe, was just in the same spot where you didn't need to replace him, it's just that you probably could, but it'd be worse options because his kit, besides his counter, on top of his counter being a thing, was just too scary for some people, right? And another one here, I guess, the actual last one, Majin Vegeta. Now, I know Majin Vegeta did nuclear damage and all that, but, I mean, this, like, 30% damage received, that's, if I'm doing the calculations in my head right, this is very quick. the 30% of damage received to your allies he's offering is actually more than the damage inflicted he's getting. He's getting 50, he's giving 30, but you're debuffing yourself, so you're actually lowering, basically, in a simple way, you're lowering your own status that you're getting from the abilities and all this from all this stuff. So overall, you're actually doing more damage to yourself, which I do feel like gassed him a little bit on top of, I believe this is just ass, right? Yeah, pretty ass there on the ability. Majin Vegeta, while he wasn't very strong, he just didn't... He wasn't so strong to where his debuff was warranted, basically. That's how I feel about that. But let me know what you guys think of this. If I did miss any units, please let me know. And I'll see you guys in the next one for the video and stuff, where we probably will get an LF and my guess. I've been saying it since, January 3rd, I believe. LF Bardock hopefully comes true, where it's a base to revival Bardock, or base to Super Saiyan revival Bardock. Obviously Super Saiyan when he revives. And we see that. But we will see. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one. It may be a 1% LOE unit, perhaps? Maybe? Please, Legends?